ṣàlọ́ tí mi ò ní bẹ̀rù àràmàǹdà kí ni irú èyí talẹ̀ tó tún fẹ́ kọrin ewì bí òṣọmọ ọba adémọlá ọmọ adélábù ni èmi adémọlá adélábù òbúrò tó ń jí forin tiẹ̀ júbà Òdùmarè.
àmì òjijì rédíò tí ó láfiwé Olúyọ̀lé FM àwa ni bàbá.
98.5 FM Olúyọ̀lé 98.5 FM 98.5 FM.
You're on to Olúyọ̀lé 98.5 FM. Of course, a media giant in a class of its own. Talk is cheap, gossip is empty. To really communicate with people, you need to have conversation. And when you have Tola and Bimbo in the house, just know the time is right and everything is set for conversation.
Yes, a very good morning, and you're still very much on to Olúyọ̀lé 98.5 FM on the stables of the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State. Welcoming you to conversation this Monday morning, the 10th day in the month of February 2025. Conversation where we bring you stories making the major headlines in the dailies. We do our best to give you top-notch analysis. In due course, we get to open the phone lines. We invite you to be a part of the flow. We share our thoughts, views, and opinions regarding those major headlines as reported by the dailies. Yes, we try to make sense of those major events unfolding around our country, our nation, and our world. And we give you top-notch analysis, like I said. And what we'll be sharing with you are thoughts, views, and opinions, not the corporate views of the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State. That's why the program is called Conversation. And we're not talking on Okogo FM, that's 6.3, our sister station in Alaga, in the Okogo of the state, Agility FM, Gambari, Obomosho, on the 92.1 FM dial. And no one beats our reach all over this great state. We are there. Beyond Oyo State, we are there, and beyond the shores of Nigeria. Just latch on over the social media platforms, Facebook precisely, and you are on to conversation. Once again, wherever you are listening across the world, you are welcome. My name is Tola Teriba. Straight to the major headlines this morning. And, okay, we have this one, and it looks rather heartwarming. Federal government steps into power outage crisis at UCH. Well, looks like somebody listening to us. And it says here, the riders, Power Minister IBDC MD visit hospital today. Patients not bringing generators to power wards, says management. Well, even if that were true, I have a feeling that the management of the hospital would not want to admit it. But then, I also cannot substantiate that. I've also heard something like that patients have been bringing generators to the wards to power the wards. But like I said, I only heard it. I cannot substantiate. Well, the management is saying that this did not happen. And I want to believe that, well, perhaps this... well, I want to take their word for it that this never happened. But if indeed it did happen, well, that's rather very pathetic. But thank God, Bimbo, the federal government is stepping into the power outage crisis at UCH. And well, like I said, it looks like somebody listening to us at long last. And well, the Minister of Power and the IBDC, the MD of the IBDC, is they are visiting the UCH today. Well, the Minister of Power is also from Oyo State, and well, he also realizes that that hospital serves mostly his own people. Of course, they should do the same if we have a kind of similar situation in other parts of the country. So thank God that this intervention is coming now, and I hope that this will yield positive results as soon as possible.
Yes, we thank the federal government, and well, let's thank ourselves too, and we thank God that this is coming at this time. because the situation at that hospital now and some other hospitals, across Nigeria, is very precarious. So we thank the federal government for this intervention at this time.
Well, the vice president continues to claim glory for feats performed by private hospitals that have done what they are supposed to do to make their own hospitals world class. And he keeps the fact that those feats were performed on Nigerian soil is enough for him to say that the health sector is very okay, according to Mr. Vice President.
I'll still have something about hospitals here now. JAPA underfunding, inefficiency, undermining public hospitals. Yes, the JAPA syndrome has reduced health professionals from 300,000 in 2017 to 90,000 in 2024. And experts have said government should privatize specialist hospitals for greater efficiency. That is what I'm seeing here. And it is evident that the JAPA syndrome, underfunding especially, and maybe inefficiency. Maybe it is because of the underfunding that is making the staff, the medical staff, being inefficient. Maybe that could be the reason, underfunding especially.
Well, inefficiency because they do not have the right tools to work with. And but Bimbo, Mr. Vice President says everything is okay. He says there is nothing wrong with the health sector, and he says that based on the premise that a private hospital has been able to carry out kidney transplants, he says on the basis of that everything is okay with the health sector in Nigeria. So I mean, he won't be very too happy to see this headline this morning, and he will dispute the statistics and the figures being reeled out in that story. As for privatization of specialist hospitals, well, that might be with a government that doesn't seem interested in motivating health sector workers or developing the health sector. That may appear the only plausible solution at the moment. Just that if that is done, I fear the ordinary Nigerian would no longer be able to afford those health services. So I do not know, Bimbo. It may be difficult for the ordinary Nigerian to afford those services because definitely you will have to pay more when health services are privatized.
Yes, and it is. I believe it's a tall dream. It's a tall dream.
This one, Bimbo, the result of when you refuse to punish wrongdoing, and you even treat the person who has done wrong like a king, and he gets off with a slap on the wrist. So this kind of thing. This next headline, this is the kind of thing that happens. Binani won Adamawa 2023 Guba polls. Dismiss the wreck, insist. And the Adamawa government challenges him to provide evidence. Like I said, I don't blame him for saying this. He got off with a slap on the wrist for his crime against democracy. And so he can still talk. He can still run his mouth, so to say, because he was never punished for what he did. This was the wreck that went ahead to announce the results of an election that was still while the results were still being collated, and he was not even the one supposed to announce the results in the first place, to officially announce the results. So, like I said, he can still beat his chest and insist on that wrongdoing of this. Okay, it says days after the National Assembly approved the sack as a commissioner in the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and I wonder why he still stayed that long as an electoral commissioner. The former resident electoral commissioner REC in Adamawa State, Mr. Hudu Ari, has insisted that gubernatorial candidate of the All Progressive Congress (APC) in the state in the 2023 general election, Senator Aisha Binani, actually won the election. Ari spoke to journalists in his private residence in Bauchi at the weekend, on issues that led to the controversial declaration of the election result by him. He said he has documentary evidence that Aisha Bilani defeated the incumbent governor Amadu Fintiri of the PDP in the rounds of the elections. Addressing newsmen, Huduari claimed that the chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, and the election tribunal dismissed all his evidences against the irregularities in the election. Holding a copy of the Holy Quran, our convenience, while speaking to journalists, he alleged that there was pressure on him and other officials of the commission to declare Governor Fintiri winner of the election, or else his security could not be guaranteed. Swearing by the Holy Quran, he said that he did all he did in good faith and in accordance with the guidelines of the elections. And they alleged that some INEC officials compromised the process and ought to have been sanctioned for their bad conduct. Now, swearing by the Holy Quran, well, I also believe that the Holy Quran and Islam would never support the illegality which the wreck himself perpetrated by going ahead to announce the results while it was still being collated.
Counted, yes.
And if he had issues with irregularities, I believe he had the power to declare the results inconclusive or cancel everything altogether, rather than giving victory to one person. And how come he was the only one that saw these irregularities? No other person saw it. So I think he's going ahead to swear by the Holy Quran. I think the man is only making a mockery of himself, and not the religion and not the Holy Quran. Because like I said, the Holy Quran would never support the kind of irregularity or the kind of illegality that he perpetrated.
Yes.
And like I said, it's because no real punishment for what he did, aside from that he was suspended and now he has been dismissed as the wreck. So he got off with a slap on the wrist, like I said. So that's why it's easy and very convenient for him, because he has not been made to answer for his crime, like I said, against democracy.
Yes, he swore with the Holy Quran. Is he a real Muslim? Muslim, sir?
Oh, I have my doubts regarding that.
Now, you remember the time I always talk about, we had discussed it. We had discussed it in the past, talking about prisons, the correctional centers, the custodial centers, that some people enjoy some privileges inside the prisons. Yes, but people
Illicit privileges.
Illicit privileges, and some people are, saying no, it is not true. Now, look at this. Okere prisons inmates robbery. Activist raises alarm over threat to life, goes underground. Gives prisons 7 days to reveal the truth or face widespread protest. You know what happened? The robbery inmates, the prison inmates, they went on, they were released for an operation during the night by prison officials. Yes.
To go and carry out a robbery operation.
And they came back before dawn. Now, a rights activist in Delta State, Israel Joe, has cried out over threats to his life. People are threatening him after divulging recently that some death row inmates of the Nigerian prison service, Okere near Wari in Delta State, went on a robbery operation outside the facility and returned under the odd arrangement. The prison's officials strongly refuted the claim that the police investigating the case at the Ekpan division of the Uvue local government area had visited Okere prisons and taken some suspects into custody. The activist said, "We have been underground and I have been receiving threats to my life, but we are not disturbed. We are resolute to continue on the path of rightness, because if we do not talk, we will not be able to reform our society. So I have been underground because I am being threatened from left, back, right and center, but we are resolute that we shall continue to speak for the downtrodden and oppressed."
Well, if indeed these happened, and well, I so much wish that the story is not true, but if indeed it happened, well, due and diligent investigation should be carried out to determine the veracity of this matter.
Yes,
and
actually, the Minister of Interior has ordered a direct and immediate, as well as a comprehensive investigation into the allegations of the criminal activities within the Okere prisons near Wadi Delta State, which have recently been reported in the media and which has gone viral.
So I think the investigation should be taken a step further. People who are, armed robbers, armed robbery suspects who are so privileged to have the chance to go out of prison in the dead of night and to go and commit another robbery, and then they came back to the prisons. Such suspects must be highly privileged, and to have such kind of privilege, they must have sponsors in very high places.
Yes,
Even aside the prison high command, civilian sponsors now outside the walls of the prison. So this also must be looked into, because it means those sponsors would also have other nefarious elements outside that are working for them and carrying out these nefarious activities. And well, I don't know if the death penalty for armed robbery still covers every state of the country, or if it covers that particular state. If it does, I think everyone found culpable, found convincingly culpable, should be tied to the stake and shot. I think that would be that's what I would recommend if indeed they are found guilty of this heinous crime.
Yes, that means what had happened now. That means if they went for an operation, if they really went for an operation, and somebody saw them, they had known that they had been in prison. And somebody, maybe saw them, identified some people, went to the police, said he or she saw somebody that is this person that looks like this, and they went to they want to find out things. They will say, he's in prison now. He's in prison. How can he come out of prison to perpetrate such acts?
That's the idea. And I have a feeling it's not the first time this is happening. So it's called is it alibi now? So he has an alibi. He was in prison at the time the crime was being committed. Whereas the person in question was the one that actually committed the crime.
But let me remind you about one issue then. This is talking about the political issue of one prominent politician who won election from prison. You understand? So
well, the law did not. The law does not stop him from. He hadn't been convicted anyway. He was still facing trial, so he was remanded in prison custody. And the law did. I don't think our laws stops him from running for elections. So, I think that one was still in order. And eventually, I think the case against him was dismissed.
Yes. Now, the Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board (JAMB) has warned computer-based test CBT centers against engaging in nocturnal registration of prospective candidates in the ongoing 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination (UTME). It also listed 10 CBT centers accused of engaging in nocturnal registration of candidates for the examination. JAMB equally warned against abuse of its newly introduced exceptionally brilliant window, which allows candidates younger than 16 to sit for UTME. Well, you know Nigerians, fraudulent Nigerians. They will just find a way around one policy, and they will find a way. Each one is nocturnal registration with the high level nocturnal, yes, high level system that the JAMB is using to register and conducting the examinations. They are finding ways nocturnal registration. Then they introduced another system for exceptionally brilliant students to participate in the JAMB. That is those under I think 16 years. So I don't know what JAMB can do to do this, but Nigerians who are fraudulent, they will find a way around any policy.
And then some fraudulent people may call their illicit acts, they may call it ingenuity on their part. Navy intercepts 16 boats loaded with 1,000 bags of rice in Badagry. probably rice was on its way out of the country. And part of the reason why we keep having skyrocketing price of rice, despite all the interventions to bring down the price of rice, despite the efforts of the government to grow more rice. The forward operating base FOB of the Nigerian Navy in Badagry, Lagos State, on Saturday intercepted 16 fiber boats loaded with 1,000 bags of foreign parboiled rice. Oh, it's actually foreign rice. Oh, okay, it's a case of smuggling now. A reliable source told correspondents in Badagry that the smugglers were about to load the bags of foreign parboiled rice into their waiting vehicles when the Navy operatives swapped on them. According to the source who resides at Yafin community in Badagry, the smugglers came with boats loaded with the bags of rice in the morning at 7:30 a.m. They brought the rice in the boats to two riverine communities, Isalu and Yafin. Within 15 minutes, their vehicles started arriving at the scene. As they were about to start offloading the boats, men from the FOB of the Nigerian Navy descended on them. A good one, able to stop them smuggling right at the entry points. But then, smuggling will be made less attractive, and smuggling of rice would naturally stop if our interventions to grow more rice and to bring down the cost of rice are indeed true and are indeed implemented with all the seriousness it deserves, with all the sincerity it deserves. So not a case of a president taking selfie with a rice pyramid and then the next day the pyramids are gone.
Yes,
and
they
then
disappeared.
And then the actual focus, the actual reason for having those pyramids was never really achieved in the long run. So, like I said, the Navy and other security agencies would have less work to do by way of curbing the smuggling of rice and indeed other food items if indeed the country is serious about homegrown rice and homegrown interventions to enhance food security across the country.
Yes, you are talking about the pyramid.
The rice pyramid.
I want to go back to that area of the Air Nigeria.
Air Nigeria.
It came and we did not see anything again. You know, those are some of the things that we are talking about.
The more you look, the less
you see.
NECA rejects new 4% customs levy once it will further impoverish Nigerians. 4% customs levy. Well, everything is being raised, everything is being increased. Nigerians have to pay more for virtually everything.
At least maybe until when it is time to really reduce, when we know that at least some things are being achieved by the presidency.
Well, you are talking about Tomorrow Bimbo. And you know that movie, If Tomorrow Comes. Well,
if tomorrow comes.
We pray that tomorrow does come.
And tomorrow never comes.
And Mr. John is not very hopeful that tomorrow will come anytime soon. But then, I also want to. I also not very hopeful myself. But then I believe that it may be slow in coming, but tomorrow will definitely come.
Yes. Let's just be optimistic. Now we have a short commercial break, and we'll now be talking about the biting economy and how it is affecting petty traders. And I'm sure Aisha, who is a consumer, will be affected too somehow.
Aisha stopped doing POS. Basically, we'll see.
Special secret that awakens taste buds. Mouth-watering wonder with awesome aroma. Terra seasoning cubes.
Terra Seasoning Cube turns your meals into a masterpiece.
Unwrap joy, unleash taste. Hey, come cook with Terra cubes. Come cook with Terra.
A parent's dream is to see their child grow up to be healthy, happy, and thriving. When you keep them safe, there's no limit to what they can achieve. Every year, thousands of women of reproductive age in Nigeria lose their lives to cervical cancer. The cancer is caused by a virus called HPV, human papillomavirus. The great news is that the disease is preventable by the HPV vaccine. Early vaccination is the most effective way of preventing cervical cancer in young women later in life. So don't wait another second. Get your daughter vaccinated and ensure she's protected, healthy, and thriving. The HPV vaccine is free and available to girls aged 9 to 14 at primary healthcare centers near you. It is safe, effective, and approved by the Ministry of Health, WHO, and UNICEF. Spread the word and protect the future. Vaccinate your girls today.
This message is brought to you by the State Primary Healthcare Development Agency in partnership with Girl Effect and other partners.
Ọ̀gá, ẹ́ńjìnì yìí ti dágbére o. Lẹ́yìn tó ti jẹ́ kí n ná ìmọye owó lórí títúnṣe láìmọye ìgbà, máa gbọ́rọ̀ tó ń bá mi sọ. Ọ̀gá ẹ̀bí mi kọ̀, mo kúkú mọ iṣẹ́. Ẹ́ńjìnì yìí ni ò dáa. Ẹ́ńjìnì wo ni ò dáa tí mo bá bá sọ? Ọ̀gá ẹ́ńjìnì yóò dáa. Ọ̀gá ìmọ̀ tó bá mi sọ pátápátá tó bá mi sọ ẹ́ńjìnì wo ló dáa?
Ǹjẹ́ o mọ̀ pé ríra ojúlówó epo bẹntiróòlù jẹ́ ọ̀nà kan láti mú ẹ́ńjìnì rẹ̀ ṣiṣẹ́ lọ́nà tó múnádóko? Ìdí nìyí tí iléeṣẹ́ Dangote Refinery ṣe ń fọ epo ẹ̀ sí ipò straight run tó mọ́ tónítóní, èyí tó jẹ́ ojúlówó bẹntiróòlù tó ṣe é fọkàn tán fún gbogbo ẹ́ńjìnì rẹ̀. Ra ojúlówó bẹntiróòlù Dangote.
Well, to our back on the program is still conversation. Bimbo, you have a story you want to...
Yes, talking about the biting economy now, and low patronage has hit petty traders as stocks enter expiration dates. Imagine, and most times, if stocks enter expiration date, and maybe you have the opportunity of having some cash with you to get those commodities. And you might not know, maybe it has the expiration date.
Most people don't bother to check.
Yes, just to buy the stocks and just get out of the place. There are high chances of buying expired products from petty traders these days. Well, that is a kind of money. This is not necessarily that they wish to sell such products to their customers, but the low patronage they are experiencing due to the downturn of the economy is causing the majority of their stocks to go into expiration dates. And some traders who spoke with reporters narrated embarrassing experiences where valuable customers returned goods brought without knowing they were expired, and as a result, most of them confess that they now sell off their stocks even at half the cost, particularly when the expiry dates are approaching, just to cut colossal losses.
You know what most of them do, Bimbo, especially those that sell in the neighborhoods? They look for goods that people actually ask for in that neighborhood. So if they notice that a particular product is not very popular with the residents of that neighborhood or that community, they don't stock it. So they stock only what people ask for, what is in demand, only what is in demand. So you may have wondered, maybe there's a certain product that you use, Bimbo, and maybe in a particular place or a particular community or a particular area where you normally find that particular product, all of a sudden you don't find it again. And you keep going and going, they will say, go see. Then when you now do your investigations, they now tell you that when you're running, that people are not asking for it, and maybe you are the only one that has some other people that come to ask for that particular kind of product. So that is what they do to beat what we are talking about. I mean, the low patron and the low sales. Before now, they would stock virtually everything, and they know that well, maybe some people would come to ask for those rare goods, and they will be. But then a situation where hardly anybody comes demanding for that particular product or service, then they don't stock it. So that's another way that they try to get around them. They try to get around it, and then maybe sometimes they are forced to reduce cost when those products are nearing the expiry date. But then most Nigerians don't even bother to look at them.
Expiry dates, even on drugs and all those.
I know there is a particular snack, a sausage, the most popular brand in Nigeria, and the brand that bears the name of other and the other sausages, sausage snacks are called by its name. That particular brand, when people buy it, and other sausages or sausage snacks as well, when people buy it, they hardly bother to look at the expiry date. And also because it hardly harms you when you eat the expired one. So people are okay with it. People hardly ever ask for hardly ever look on the wrap to check the expiry date.
But it depends on the anatomy of anybody.
Oh well,
it depends.
That's also a possibility.
It depends, because what can affect you negatively might not affect me negatively. And people are also saying in this economy, you embrace what you have. You have to embrace what you have, what you get. And now the President Association of Micro Entrepreneurs of Nigeria, Amen, Prince Iche, said, let me quote him, "I believe that before we talk of people buying expired food items and drinks, let's go to the foundation. The soft drinks we are drinking in Nigeria are unhealthy, and the manufacturers are producing anything, not following due process and mindful of people's health. In no particular order, for instance, a cola brand I know of a few years ago, while growing up, when drinking, you say yes, it said taste cola, but recently what they are allegedly putting is nothing but coloring, sugar, and water. There is no cola, the real cola, as it used to be before."
Oh, very true. I think I agree absolutely with that person that has noted that. And then many of these multinationals producing soft drinks, producing beverages in Nigeria, they lower standards so as to be able to stay in business. And I wonder why NAFDAC is not raising any questions. Many of these soft drinks are actually very unhealthy, like this man has said, very unhealthy. And overseas in the advanced nations, they won't even allow you to take a bottle of those drinks from Nigeria. They won't allow it into their country for any reason. So now, some of the organizations that have left Nigeria, some of the multinationals that have left Nigeria, they left because some of them said they cannot compromise standards. And while they try to maintain those high standards, the market is flooded with goods that are of inferior quality. The same kind of products that they are producing, but that are of inferior qualities, and Nigerians would go for those ones because those ones they have been allowed by the regulatory bodies, Standards Organization of Nigeria and NAFDAC. They don't raise the flag on those ones. So that's exactly the problem here. So between what Nigerians can afford and between what is considered quality, that's where the problem, the real problem is now. So, but like I said, I think where it comes to beverages and food, I think health should matter most.
And we should always be careful, especially when it comes to children.
Let's have another commercial break. We'll be back.
No buy am. But why? No see say this big bull bag of rice no get the new big bull holographic seal. Not true.
Introducing the Big Bull Holographic Seal Tape, your favorite authentic Big Bull rice, 50 kg and 25 kg. Now with holographic seal tape. This is to ensure you get the premium product from Big Bull Rice. Do not buy if the holographic seal tape is not on the bag or is broken. Big Bull Rice. Tasty rice nourished you.
Right, we are back and the program is still conversation. Oh, how time flies, Bimbo. It's a year already since the late Albert Wigwe, the founder of Access Bank.
Yes, Access Bank, yes. And I think the plane crash.
Helicopter crash.
Helicopter crash, yes.
It's been a year since he passed on. And it says there, 1 year after President Tinubu, French President Emmanuel Macron, ex-President of Obasanjo, Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, others paid tribute to Albert Wigwe. May his soul continue to rest in peace.
Yes, he was such a great contributor to the Nigerian economy and Nigerian banking sector.
Leadership, not title but sacrifice, service to people, says former Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi. As Tinubu hails his sacrifice in stepping down at APC presidential primary. Okay, and more economic stories. Investors favor 364-day bonds, treasury bills, and court affirms FCCPC's regulatory authority in telecom sector. Also on politics here, APC set to hold NEC meeting, says opposition merely out to grab power for personal aggrandizement.
Well, you remember when I think some funds which were swallowed by some animals then. I think one was it JAM fund or one fund allocated to one agency that
swallowed by snakes.
By snakes, and
now
now
another one eaten by gorilla.
Gorilla, yes. Now, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the last elections, Atiku Abubakar, yes, like I said, he has warned those saddled with the responsibility of implementing the 1.07 billion 2025 health budget against making claims that animals such as snakes, termites, gorillas, and monkeys swallowed the funds. He noted that in recent years there had been bizarre claims of animals being held accountable for missing public funds, adding that some of the fairy tale-like claims were never investigated or punished to deter future offenders. Well, that is talking about corruption here, you just chop the money and say some animal just swallowed the money,
Well, what I do know, Bimbo, is that yes, animals are not as intelligent as human beings, but they are intelligent. They can decipher paper from food. So even in a situation where you see some animals eating paper, maybe that paper was used to, maybe the animal was extremely hungry, and that paper was used to wrap some food items.
Maybe like or something like that.
And then maybe you see a goat chewing a piece of nylon or something, like maybe extreme hunger. Or maybe the snake was extremely hungry, and the only thing it could find at that time was millions of millions of naira. And how the snake even got to where the money was kept, it's another mystery. So, but I do know that animals do have their own levels of intelligence, and they know food when they see it. They can decipher food from paper when they see both. Again, those whoever said that they should tell their stories to the Marines. And it's good that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is sounding this note of warning. This must never happen again.
Yes.
We must never hear this kind of narrative again that insults our joint and collective intelligence as a people. Okay. That same story is also here. Atiku raises concern over $1.07 billion health sector budget reallocation. Says it's fraudulent not to commit funds to infrastructure. And federal government student loan scheme addressing school dropouts, says Tinubu's aid. Well,